Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's me, Elizabeth, and tonight we are going to be reading for the new moon in Cancer, and this new moon is very special, very powerful. It's happening on Friday, July 9th at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time, so you can calculate that for your neck of the woods, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here. I wanted to make this excuse me, sort of like a galactic reading. So I haven't done like a Starseed, Lightworker, galactic energy check-in for a while, so I wanted to sort of like make that tonight's theme. So I do have some notes. I'll probably go over some of them. Tonight we're going to be using the Galactic Heritage cards, and this is by Royal-Holt. It's a very special system. And it's so interesting because I'm subscribed to her YouTube channel and she rarely puts videos out. And as I was taking down the deck, had my YouTube on, and she posted a video. It was like 30 minutes long. Maybe I'll leave a link to that or mention her channel in the comments because it was so interesting that she popped up. So I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be using these cards. They're very unique. It's a very unique system. We'll get into some of the galactic energies and see what the galactics want to say to us specifically. So, excuse me, for the Starseeds, Lightworkers, healers, empaths, whatever you may call yourself, even if you're not really familiar with those terms or you think that they're a little woo-woo, I still welcome you to join. I'm going to try to really get messages for everyone, but with an emphasis on galactic energies, starseed energies, light worker, shadow worker, shamanic energies, kind of all of that. So I have an astrology deck that we're going to use as well. And I just want to show you this deck. This is by a friend and local Sedona author, Kiara Kyan of Crystal Prophecy. So we'll get some astrological influences. It's a really high level deck, so we'll be using that as well. And I also have the Moonchild Tarot that I want to use tonight. That's by Danielle, Noel. And we are going to start with a Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. And I also pulled out the Sacred Destiny by Denise, Linn. So just to give you an idea of some of the decks that we'll be using. And then I wanted to get a message from Kyan, the Divine Mother kind of energy, because this is a Cancer new moon, and also the sun is in Cancer, obviously. So this new moon takes place at 18 degrees of Cancer. So you can sort of look in your chart to see what's being activated inside of your own natal chart. If you would like to, it's at 18 degrees of Cancer. So thank you, angels. Thank you, spirit. Thank you to the galactics of the highest love and light. I already know that they're here. So yeah, the card that came up is You Got the Love. Now, Cancer is all about the mother energy. It's fourth house. It's the house of hearth and home. It's about our feelings. So this is really going to be a new moon where we can honor our feelings, give ourselves a lot of nourishment. There's some aspects that are happening and we can kind of talk about that, but You Got the Love. This is the Hadarian energy coming in. Before I saw this deck, or before I owned this deck, I didn't know about the Hadarians, but they were similar sort of to the Pleiadeans in a sense where it's a very high frequency race of star beings, and they are all about the love. In fact, they are so deeply empathic that they see themselves in everyone and everything. So the message here is about boundaries, and that is definitely a theme of this Cancer new moon, is establishing and setting healthy boundaries for yourself. This also speaks about codependency, but really and truly, it is about being able to see yourself in everyone. It's just so emotive. It's so compassionate. And I think that's why I was feeling the energy of Kyan tonight, because she is, it's she who hears the cries of the world, the female bodhisattva. So You Got the Love, Hadarian energy coming in, codependency and boundaries. So let's kind of I'll just read some of my notes. So Cancer is a cardinal sign. So that means it's the beginning of a season, meaning the beginning of summer. So it's initiating that cardinal energy of starting something new. So this new moon is especially potent for new beginnings because Cancer is a cardinal energy. It's very initiating. I think of it's a water sign. Most of you probably know that. Cancer is a water sign, the feminine, ruled by the moon. Hence, double the new moon energy. And I associate Cancer with sort of a waterfall. So if we think about the various forms of water, I associate Cancer with sort of a rushing river, even the rapids or a waterfall. It's about letting things flow. It's about the rush of emotion. It's about really moving the energy. So this is going to be an important moon for self-care, for your feelings, for really honoring your feelings, nourishing them. It's a fresh, positive energy. It rules hearth and home, your roots, even the past, the mother energy. So with the moon, we can sort of think about like a lot of memories may come up, memories of the past, your foundations. It's that fourth house of home and foundation. Okay, so honor your deepest feelings. Your feelings aren't necessarily a fact. They're feelings, so they're changeable. That's what's so beautiful about our feelings. They change, right? Prioritize what makes you feel safe and secure and set healthy boundaries. You've got the love. So you're very empathic and compassionate around this time. Starseeds, Lightworkers, healers, Shamanic Warriors, Warriors of Light, Warriors of Truth, Galactics, Angelics, whoever you are who is watching this. Rest. If you need to rest, rest. This is also about really trusting your intuition, trusting your gut. Cancer rules the stomach, so really, really trusting your gut instincts. Your intuition's going to be very heightened. This is also about giving your emotions a voice. And a healthy voice if you can. So these are beginnings. This new moon cycle is about beginnings that you intuitively feel are right for you. So if you're doing anything around the new moon to sort of think about these things, it is about the beginnings that are the best for you, that are in your own highest and best interest and that kind of thing. Chiron is very active right now. I don't have like all of the exact placements and whatnot, but I know that the wounded healer, the asteroid Chiron, which if you don't know where Chiron is in your chart, it's always great to look it up. Chiron is in Aries. Chiron moves through signs anywhere between like 6 to 10 years. It has an erratic orbit. It doesn't have the same orbit all the time. So Chiron is the wounded healer. This is where we look at our core wounding and we gently heal it. And that's the wound that becomes our superpower. So that is very active right now. So this is also a healing moon. It's opposing Pluto, and Pluto is about endings and deep, deep transformation. So there is an opportunity to have some kind of a closure or catharsis right now, which isn't necessarily typical with a new moon. So that's something else that's making this new moon special. It's also trining Neptune and Pisces, which is retrograde. So really internal dreaminess. It's very encouraging. And also we have Venus, which is conjuncting Mars in Leo. And this is something that's sort of been building up for the whole month of July. So Venus, the feminine, Mars, the masculine. It's men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's really going to be igniting passion, that conjunction. So it could be an extra sexy time. It may be very good for union and relationships, but also there may be some sudden changes because we have Venus in Leo, which is squaring Uranus, which is in Taurus. So some sudden changes may be happening. So that's kind of the basics of this new moon energy. So again, we start off with You Got the Love. So beautiful. I love that the Hadorian energy is coming out. And then at the bottom of the deck is Star Bathing, and this is like an activation. So it is summertime in the Northern Hemisphere. The sky is going to be very dark because it's a new moon. So this may be an extra great time to get out under the stars and bathe in the starlight. Do some stargazing, see what happens. This is about an activation, and even crystal gridding. So some of you may be doing some crystal grids around this new moon. Okay, so let's move on to the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Linn, and then I want to get into the galactic energies and see what they have to say to us, because I really feel that I haven't done one of these in a while, so I really want to see what the galactics want us to know. All right, so thank you, Spirit. Highest and best messages for the collective. This is an all signs reading. It's not sign specific. For this new moon in the sign of Cancer. Thank you so much. This one, I felt it wanting to come out. Where did it go? And now it disappeared. There we go. Was miracles. So there's a rainbow blessing in the dark of night. So that's definitely speaking to like new moon energy, you guys. So I felt like it wanted to pop out. I saw this when I was pre-shuffling. So yeah, thriving. That is like something about this new moon is about like really being able to thrive right now, that these are powerful new beginnings that are available to us. We get the energy of the giraffe. So the giraffe is this land animal like us. It's here in the 3D. And what's so beautiful about the giraffe, well, they're very exotic, right? So even like us humans, as thinking of ourselves as an exotic animal, you know, that we are very exotic. Our DNA is very high level. And this energy of the giraffe, it is so tall. So it's not a bird. It's not an eagle. It's not a hawk. It's not able to, you know, fly above the land, but it's so tall. It has such a vast perspective. It can see for a long, you know, across a wide distance. So I feel like the message here is about the bigger picture. It is about changing our perspective. It's about like, and thriving through that. So not keeping ourselves limited into a way of thinking about whatever situations are happening in your life. It's about seeing from a higher perspective. And they're very gentle creatures, you know, they eat a vegetarian diet, they eat leaves from trees and things like that. And they can just reach so high, they can see so high. So I feel like that's what's coming up right now, is around this time that is very emotive and it's very concerned with sort of like how you're feeling, your stability, your safety, is that in honoring that, you really will be able to thrive. Like whatever it is that's coming up for you, about sort of like keep holding a higher perspective of these things and just allowing whatever comes up to come up. And just holding it, whatever is coming up, just to like sort of hold it and hold that vision of something great for yourself. So there's an energy of optimism that's happening here. And I'm feeling like it's just something exotic. Like there's some kind of an exotic energy with this sort of like African safari that's happening here, you know, and there is a nod to a moon here in this card. So we do see the moon. It's sort of like a sunset energy. There's a lot of light here. There are other giraffe in the distance. So we see 3 giraffes total. Okay, so it is about like groups of people. So I'm even feeling like this is the collective. It's not just about the self. The bigger message is also about how we feel in relation to other people. Again, with setting healthy boundaries, with what it is that we need for ourselves versus the people that we love and care for so much, what they may need, but where like, where we end and they begin, that boundary, you know, that collectively we are all one, but we are still individual. So you can see here, like these giraffe they're all in different places. They're together, but they're separate, and they're each thriving in their own space. So that's a definite nod to boundaries right now. That's like, yeah, that's the message. It's definitely a nod to boundaries, but they're still doing it together, you know? So it does have a lot to do about family. And that is that 4th house, you know, of hearth and home and family, but also about the self and about having boundaries within that. So right now you may be feeling like a lot of energy and emotion around other people in your life. people that you love and care for, what's happening with them. And it's also a great opportunity to, I'm feeling like now is a great time to sort of like set these boundaries. Perhaps it's just energetic, but there's also an opportunity to create more closeness and intimacy with the people that you love. So I'm definitely feeling that. It is an energy. It's not like you're setting boundaries so then you're not close or intimate with other people. It actually helps to strengthen the relationships, if that makes sense. All right, so let's get serious here. So let's get some messages from the Galactics. Okay. Ooh, all right. So 2 just came out right away. Wow. Okay. So, and I might refer to the book with regards to this, but I'm seeing an astronaut here first and foremost. We get the Pleiadian energy. So I love the Pleiadians. That was the first galactic race that I ever became aware of in, I don't know, in the early 90s. And I was like, yeah, that's me. So seeking karmic balance, a number 63. And this is present energy. And so that is like, that's a big thing, right? She's like an astronaut. And I feel like that's for a lot of us, like maybe we feel like we sort of landed here without an instruction booklet because she's standing on a book and then she's reading this book. So we're all learning, and you may feel like a stranger in a strange land at sometimes, like, you know, all of this energy of not just being able to like give out all of your love all the time to everyone, everywhere, for every reason, and not have it reciprocated in a healthy way feels foreign to you. The stranger in a strange land is what they're telling me. So, so seeking karmic balance, and that's a big one. It's like, you know, we've come here to really learn a lot. We've come here to learn a lot of lessons. We've come here to learn this experience of being in this 3D suit. And even if you've done this many times before, and even if you feel like you really haven't been here much before, maybe you only come in when it's most needed, you know? So some of the Starseeds have actually been coming here for a very long time, or Lightworkers, or Shamanic Warriors, whatever you call yourself, or whatever you identify as. And some of you are like, well, I feel like this is my first time here. So it is about like learning lessons, what this experience means to us about being human. And on a more mundane level, like getting more down to earth, right? With this, I don't even know if it's supposed to be an astronaut, but that's how I'm seeing her or him, as this like astronaut, this stranger in a strange land who's like trying to read the manual. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is how I'm supposed to act or be, and that's what's healthy versus non-healthy. So a lot of you really may be struggling with this idea of energetic boundaries, really, really feeling the love. That's the Hadarian energy of it's all love with them, and it became out of balance for them. The Hadarians, it became out of balance for them, and they had a lot of struggle and a lot of challenge because of that. So that was like part of their karma, their lesson that they had to work on. If we think of karma rather than like good or bad, or like, karma, you know, it's more of just a lesson. It's something that we learn. It's a part of our soul's growth. So that was one of the lessons for the Hadarians. And so I feel like that's what's coming up here, is creating more balance in our lives. This Cancer new moon about nurturing self-care, trusting your gut, you know, listening to how something or someone or a situation really makes you feel is vital right now. It's like a screaming out, you know, to restore that balance. And that's what's going to make everybody thrive. You know, so it's not for selfish reasons. It's really for what is in the highest and best interest of everyone involved. So for some of you, you may be in a space where you're giving too much energy to things. For some of you, you may be in a space where you're not receiving back from other people or other situations, a job, whatever that is. You're not receiving back what you know you're worth. There's an imbalance, or or even just it's something to look at. Even if right now you're sort of doing well inside of that energy, this has been something that you've been working on, because we get the energy of change, number 3, coming up with Andromeda. So that's huge. Andromeda, we'll talk about that in a minute, but you know, even if this is something you've really been working on, so it's maybe a time for a check-in. How's that going for you? How has that, you know, been manifesting for you? Number 3, about manifestation. How's that been manifesting for you? How has that changed your life? You know, how has your life improved? What has changed in your life? With regards to like sort of seeking this balance in your life between some of your soul agreements with people. It's almost like redefining what your agreements are. So if you've been, you know, sort of playing a role inside of whether it's a job or specific relationships, and you're sort of seeing where that can change, you know, it's an adjustment. So I'm feeling like the energy of justice coming in, like balance, you know, that Libra energy, which is around our partnerships. It's around our relationships. Okay, so Andromeda energy of change. I think I'm going to look at the book, and I feel like this is going to be a longer reading. I know some of you don't necessarily like the longer readings, but I'm feeling like it's going to be longer. So change being the only constant, things change, you know. We may have to let some people or situations go. I talk about this a lot. And like I said, with this new moon, with the energy of Pluto coming in with this new moon, there is something about catharsis and being able to release something during this new moon. I have a good friend, and I talked to her. She's one of my best friends from Tampa when I used to live in Florida. Anita, hi, if you're watching this. She's been a Wiccan forever, and she talks about how we shouldn't, like, well, not shouldn't, but she really feels that the full moon is not about release, that the full moon is about more like manifestation. So perhaps if she's watching this, Anita, if you do watch this, leave a comment, like, for the new moon, do you feel like that's where we do a lot of releasing during the new moon? So anyway, it's just sort of redefining how we see these things. But Pluto is playing a role here, so about change. Okay, so again, the Andromedans, this is a parallel reality because they are in another galaxy. Andromeda is its own galaxy. So when we talk about the Andromedans, there's probably a gazillion races inside of the Andromeda galaxy. You know, it's outside of the Milky Way. It's very, very far away. So they live in a very unusual reality paradigm, that of constant change. The change is so dramatic that the only way to orient yourself in reality is to have a strong inner compass based on consciousness. You have pulled this card because either you have a strong connection with Andromedans, or you love change, or you need to connect with Andromedan energy and let go of the fear of change. This is your next lesson. Wow. So seeking that karmic balance is going to bring change. It is, you know, it's sort of like creating those boundaries, you know, that can create shifts in your life. It's an internal process of really honoring yourself, honoring how things are making you feel, honoring if something is really draining your energy and you have to pull back and do that rest, honoring if you feel that things are stagnant and you need to take action, that your life then changes. And that can be scary for some people, and maybe that's like sort of why a lot of times, like throughout our lives, we may just stay in the status quo for a while, and it's like, we'll just suck it up and deal with it, you know, and like, okay, I'm just going to deal with this for a while longer. I'm not quite ready for that change, and that's fine too. But like, it's about looking at it. So we just explore the energies here. So it may seem odd that the energy of a galaxy outside of ours is being utilized in this deck. The reason for this is that you can see yourself more clearly when there is a contrasting idea that can serve as a comparison. And I see that as polarity too. Like, we came into the 3D, we agreed to this, however many times you've been doing this, to experience contrast so that we can get a fresh perspective, so that we can grow. It's about that contrast and things that serve as a comparison. The energy of the Andromeda Galaxy provides this contrast to help us see ourselves more clearly. Within the template for experience in our reality lies the issue of polarity, right? This is a primary theme we must explore on our way back to wholeness. So it's about not being afraid of being in a polarized state, of seeing something as either, draining or nourishing, as something that makes us happy or makes us unhappy. It's, inside of the spiritual community of being able to look at the polarization, not shy away from it, and think that we're somehow not some kind of a guru because we don't see everything as one all the time at every moment. It's about experiencing the contrast, looking at it and realizing that this is our way back to wholeness. It's the vehicle for it. So really interesting. In addition, we have a tendency to like things to stay the same so that we can feel safe and secure. So that's the energy of the Cancer new moon. What makes you feel safe? What makes you feel secure? So perhaps for some of you, it's about not rocking the boat. It's about perhaps, you don't have you don't have a voice for your emotions because you don't want to rock the boat, because then there will be change. So it's going to be different for everyone. I should always preface by saying, never give up your power to a reading or to a reader. So that goes for this reading especially, and for all of the things that I'm saying, please do not give up your power to me or to this reading. You are your own best guide. You're your own best intuit, your own best psychic. And so the message isn't the message, it's your reaction to the message. That's the message. So you might be saying, nope, I totally disagree. This doesn't resonate, and that's totally fine. Okay, so about feeling safe and secure, right? Because then it doesn't bring in change. It's that energy of holding back, because for the fear of change and what will change and what that will look like. This part of our nature is based on our ego's need, and until we transcend that need, we will always stay stuck. And that's why this Cancer new moon is a time for potentially really incredible new beginnings. Living in an Andromedan reality requires us to create an anchor to reality in our own consciousness rather than the outside world. So your reality is anchored within your own consciousness. And I was having this conversation last night with my sister. We talked on the phone all night last night, and we were talking about what is reality? It's different for every single one of us. So instead of this concept, creating that anchor into our own consciousness rather than the world outside of us, that's where we're anchored. And that's why I was saying about emotions, not being afraid of them and not seeing them as an absolute, as a fact all the time, because they change. And the more we honor them and allow them to flow, like that Cancerian waterfall I was seeing, the more these emotions do shift and change. So just anchoring your reality inside of yourself and not the things outside of yourself, and there's your boundary. Boom. There's your energetic boundary. It doesn't even have to be necessarily spoken. So it's also about how we're affected by other people. So for some of you, it just is about this internal kind of process. And trust me, people pick up on these things energetically, because your actions are then speaking louder than your words. So it's going to be different for all of you, how you sort of manifest this change. It looks different for everybody. There's nothing cookie cutter about this experience. It's this, little Pleiadian astronaut, which is many of you, even if you're more Arcturian or Syrian or Andromedan, you're this little astronaut, and so this is the book that I was talking about, and I forgot where I was going with this, but anyway, okay. So thus, the Andromedans act as masters and guides for our evolution. So, okay, this is this whole idea of anchoring your consciousness into your own reality is an important concept that actually has to do with how humans will eventually master space travel. Space travel. Wow, you guys. Okay, so that's some kind of quantum energy there of travel. That's a little clue. It is also profoundly connected to spiritual awakening. Thus, Andromedans act as masters and guides for our evolution, teaching us to move from polarity and from the fear of change to integration and the embracing of the changing nature of reality. If this card appears in your spread, look closely at your relationship to change. Are you addicted to it? Some people are addicted to change. They don't want anything to stay the same. They get bored. They're restless. That's even like the Aquarian energy of this age of Aquarius. It can get bored very easily, restless very easily. So are you addicted to it or do you fear it? Perhaps it is time to forge a new relationship with one of the only constants of life, and that is change. Amazing. I feel like this is such a this is a great reading so far. I hope you're enjoying it. So let's move on. We're going to go back to that, but I want to clarify with a message from the Crystal Alabe Oracle deck. And this is by Crystal Prophecy. It's an indie deck coming right out of Sedona. Crystal Prophecy, they're on Instagram, Facebook. I think she has a website as well. So if you like what you see, help a girl out. She's one of my good friends here. She's incredible. All right, so thank you to the Pleiadeans and the Andromedans for this beautiful message, and the Galactics. We got the energy of Pisces. Interesting. So Pisces is about change. It's the 12th house of the zodiac, and this is just Pisces coming in. So it says, listen with your heart. The answers are out there and will come to you. So the energy of Pisces, this is the 12th house. So it's the culmination of the entire zodiac. It's all of the signs, all of the houses in one house. So this is where there is polarity. And that's why with Pisces, we see the two fish swimming in opposite directions. They're polarized. It's the two polarizing energies. So it's the house of our undoing. It's where we are totally deprogrammed. We unlearn everything. We die a little bit. You know, it's not the 8th house of Pluto where Scorpio sits. So it's not the transformation, but it's the ending. It's the alpha and the omega, the ending and the beginning. So it's also about, you know, our delusions, illusions. It can be our greatest fears. It's our greatest hopes and wishes. It's all of it, you know? So it's also like being very, very psychic, highly tuned in. It's that deep, deep water energy. So when we talk about Cancer with the waterfall, Pisces can take on all forms of water. It's fog, it's mist, it's ice. You know, it's all these different forms of water. It's so changeable. So the energy of Pisces coming in about this, just to clarify that there is sort of this ending, you know, that can really happen with this new moon or this powerful new beginning. Listen with your heart. Pisces is very heart-centered. Pisces is very empathic. You know, it is about you've got the love. That's why inside of the energy of Pisces, we can write the most beautiful love story. We can write the most beautiful poetry. We can create the most beautiful work of art, the most beautiful meal. It's all that creativity, all of that artistry, and it comes from pleasure and pain. It comes from being sober and being totally drunk. It's all of it. It's the polarization. So it is that deeply empathic side of us. And I feel like the message here also for all of you Starseeds, Lightworkers, healers, Shamanic Warriors, Angelics, whatever you are, humans, let's not forget humans with our incredible DNA, perfect as it is, no need to modify it, wink, wink. So it is also about that we have accumulated so much. All of these thousands and thousands and thousands of years of humanity being here on Gaia, on Earth, through all of these different ages, all of these different times, through our DNA from our ancestors, our epigenetics, deep inside of our genetic coding, that we have accumulated everything. So it is about like that we have reached a completion. This is the age of Pisces, right? So this was the age of, let's say, Jesus, right? The age of Isis and Osiris, of Atlantis even, okay? So we are now in the age of Aquarius. So it's a nod to a completion that we've had. And so that we have accumulated all of this experience, all of this knowledge. And now it is time to like recognize who we are, who we really are, you know, this astronaut. I'm just totally hearing David Bowie right now, you know. Ground control to Major Tom, you know. So it is time for karmic balance, okay, whatever that means to you. And there's an opportunity for great change. At the bottom of the deck from, I want to show you this, at the bottom of the deck from the, what is it called? Sorry, Sacred Destiny was wisdom. And this is kind of amazing because this is like the energy of the mermaid, but she's more etheric. It's like not everybody can see her. And she's in the depths of the ocean. And I guarantee you that these fish, the coral, the starfish, they can all see her. But if a human were there, maybe they couldn't see her. And maybe you're just a different kind of human. So it's about like the depths of the ocean, Pisces, the water energy, Cancer. It's all this water energy. The sun is in Cancer right now, obviously. So about really going deep, you guys. Go deep on this one. And maybe for some of you, you're not feeling that and you just want to keep it more simple. Underneath that was purity. Maybe, you know, maybe this is what you've been doing. And now it's feeling like this new beginning, this fresh start. We get the energy of the first snow. So autumn, right? There's all these storms. The leaves are falling. Branches are falling. The yard can look really messy in autumn, you know, when you think about that. Like I grew up in the Northeast. So as a kid, it was like in autumn, the yards would get so messy and there's leaves and branches and twigs everywhere. There's acorns everywhere. It's a big giant mess. And that first snowfall comes and it just blankets everything and it softens everything. And everything's quiet and there's just a hush and it's so pure and it's so beautiful. You know, it's crisp. You can breathe. You can see clearly. You feel like you're getting an energetic clearing during that first snow. It's a purity. So perhaps it is about like being in these depths of the retrogrades, the eclipses, and now this new moon comes and it's a time for this beautiful fresh start, this new beginning of like a clean slate, wiping the slate clean. Like perhaps for some of you, this is what you've been working on, seeking this karmic balance, these energetic boundaries, asking yourself what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel, you know, all of those things, that you've been inviting in this change. You've been making the changes. You've been listening with your heart. So everybody is like sort of in different stages of this and it's not linear. You know, we go back to these things. It's a spiral, you know, and the ascension is that we're always spiraling up. So you may return to these things. Oh, I thought I learned this. I thought I did this. But then you return to it again. It comes up again so that you can like work with it in a different way. And the spiral just keeps going up. And that is ascension. And all the while you're expanding your consciousness. You're inviting in new information, new ways of processing, new ways of doing, new ways of being. It's really beautiful, you guys. I'm loving this reading so much. So I don't even know. Let's get one more message from the Galactic, what is it called? Galactic Heritage cards. So if anybody's interested in this deck, this is Lisa Royal-Holt, H-O-L-T. Okay, so thank you to this. She's an amazing channel. I don't really, in all honesty, I don't know that much about her. I've watched a few of her videos. I know that she works very closely with the Japanese people. So she's an American or a Canadian. I'm not sure if she's American or Canadian, but she does a lot of her seminars in Japan. I believe the artist of this deck is Japanese as well. So there's sort of like that cool, like Japanese connection to this deck. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you to the Galactics. Let's get, oh, so many. All right, so I'm not going to take these, you guys. I'm just going to, all right. Well, this one came out over Pisces. Nice. It's the energy of Earth. So yeah, you know, this is us here, and this is in the past. And this is where we were searching for ourselves. We didn't know where we came from. So number 49, the missing link. What is the missing link? I was having a conversation today with myself about science, you know, and about like how we need to redefine the word science and really take a look at that closely. You know, part of the age of Aquarius, part of the dark side of the age of Aquarius is that we rely too much on technology and science, that it becomes very robotic, it becomes very mechanical, it becomes transhuman even. So we really, as a species, we need to take a look at what science is, like almost redefine science, because just as our consciousness is expanding and ascending and spiraling up, so is science. So the idea that there may be technologies, advances, things that we can't even imagine or that we have imagined, but we didn't quite believe that it was real, sort of like really taking a look at that, because we have a lot of energies out there in the mainstream that are trying to tell us that A and B are absolutes because what? Science. And so it's sort of this energy of trying to diminish spirituality, take away from God, take away from the spiritual sciences, which in the future will prove to be true. So it's about redefining what science looks like, what the possibilities are, and meaning like, you know, however many years ago, we were trying to figure out what this missing link is. And a lot of us have sort of figured it out, right? But it's not written in the textbooks. And so there's so much missing history, okay, that's been oppressed, that hasn't been revealed inside of the books. This idea of like being Starseed, being, you know, from another planetary system, from another galaxy, that you're a multi-dimensional being and you came here and you had to forget. And then there's this system of control that wishes to tell you the facts, but the fact is that those aren't the facts. So that's just one of the messages that I'm getting, because I was thinking today about this age of Aquarius thing and the sort of dark side of that, and that we, you know, cannot discount the spiritual sciences, that we have to be open-minded, because that is Aquarius energy in its positive aspect, is super open-minded, future thinking, revolutionary. It loves technology that benefits all, not the technology that seeks to oppress and harm people, right? So yeah, so that's just one message that wanted to come out. So thank you to the Galactics and our highest selves for bringing that up. And let's see. I think this came out from this deck the last time that I used this deck. And this is the energy of Lyra. So some of you may identify as a Lyran or a Lyran. I know, like potato. And it's about polarity, and it's about the past, the seeds of polarity. And I love this because this reminds me of a double terminated crystal, right? So a double terminated crystal, and the double terminated crystals are very powerful, like especially if you find a double terminated crystal that naturally occurs. Like as an example, this would be a double terminated, meaning that it's got points at both ends. And so there's like this flow of energy, you know, it's very powerful for that reason. Whereas, let's say, where did it go? This is one of my Lemurian seeds, okay? And so you can see where it is not a double termination. This was like a seed, right? So, you know, it's a single termination. So this energy of the double termination of being able to like really direct the energy, move the energy, and that's an angel aura right there. So let's read about this one. We are going very long, but if you enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy this, I would really appreciate it a lot. Okay, so this is Lyra or Lyra, which was like, it is a very old race, the Lyrans. They're very, very advanced. They're a very old race. I believe they had a lot of wars inside of their constellation. Okay, so let's just read this. As humanoid races began growing throughout the Lyran system or the Lyran system, the yin-yang principle of duality became even more pronounced. It sounds like us, right? At first, the polarities remained balanced. That's that energy of the Pleiadeans, like, you know, seeking this karmic balance. And the energy of polarity with Andromeda and change. So at first the polarities remain balanced, but because of our cosmic journey being about growth and the integration of polarity, those polarities had to become more pronounced before they could be healed. And this is definitely what we've been seeing, you know, is that it just keeps getting more and more pronounced. This is your differences with other people. This is the idea of like this identity politics that we're seeing. It's everybody has to identify. Even this reading, you know, it's like, okay, Starseed, Lightworker, all of that. Like, you know, I give it a name because I want to attract a certain group of people. But at the same time, I would love everybody to who, you know, feels like they could identify with this to watch this, no matter what you are, no matter, you know, what your belief system is. So, but it is about ultimately like it becomes so polarized that it has no choice but to heal, you know, and I feel like that's where we are headed. So do not fear it as you did in ancient times. Because look at, you know, looking at how polarity plays a role in your life today. So do not fear it as you did in ancient times. And I feel like that's this energy of the past, you know, right here, ancient times. Learn how to stay balanced even amid the temptation to choose one pole over the other. So it is that middle path. Wisdom comes from embracing both rather than choosing one side over another. So that's a message, you know, as you're going about like a lot of these changes, even within your life, that like what makes you feel safe and secure, what makes you feel more balanced, what makes you feel more emotionally stable. And sometimes it is really just coming back to center and you know, and that unifying energy of walking the middle path, of not going too far in the extreme, one way or the other. You may have an opinion, but it is also about like learning to see different sides of things. And also seeing these two very polarized sides as, you know, the opposite side of the same coin. It's still coming from the same, you know, coin. So during this time of sort of change, of looking to be in a place where you're thriving more, where you have new beginnings that are available to you, about like letting go of some of the polarization, and just not being too extreme really in anything. It's the energy of temperance, you know? So it's like everything in divine flow, everything in divine timing. These are like all of the different elements that we work with here. you know, on this 3D plane, the water and the fire, you know, it's like the mixing and blending of all of these elements to create something new, to create that third energy or that fourth energy. So let's get one final card. Okay, there we go. Freedom! I love it. Let freedom ring. This is beautiful, you guys. We get Vega and the future. So finally, we get a future energy coming out. We started with the present. We went to a parallel with the Andromedans. We go the Earth in the past. We go to Lyra in the past. And now we end with Vega and freedom, number 73. So I'm feeling this beautiful energy. It reminds me of the Statue of Liberty, you know, like that energy of liberty, let freedom ring. And that this is like eventually what we're moving towards. Like, you know, it is our evolution and that nothing can stop it. And I know that that may be a hard pill for some of you to swallow. You're dealing with some really, difficult situations and scenarios in your life. For some of you, it's a worst case scenario that you think you're looking at right now. There's some tough things that are coming up. So I want to read from the book from this one as well. And I hope that that's not bothering you, that I'm sort of like using the book. You know, I know that some people don't like that, but this deck is very special and, you know, it has 108 cards in it. So I'm sort of learning it with you. So this is about the ancient Vegans having a lot of challenges. And they're very, like, our journey is so closely connected to the Vegans because from what I understand about the Vegans, like they were humanoid, right? And they became very technologically advanced and they moved into the technology. It's sort of like they had their dawning of the age of Aquarius and they went right into all of the AI and science, and that it's just fact over fiction, fact over creativity, you know, where it's like all science-based all the time, all technology all the time, and it did not, you know, go well for them. Okay. So the ancient Vegans had many challenges in their personal development, including feelings of self-limitation, self-judgment, over-controlled emotions, and martyrhood, to name a few. This kept them feeling like slaves to their mental and emotional patterns for millennia. But as they awakened, they realized that those patterns were just illusions that stopped them from seeing their inner light. Once they realized this, they experienced a tremendous sense of spiritual liberation and freedom. This is the same challenge humans have. Can you stop validating mental, emotional patterns and simply be your light? So this card refers to an era in Vegan history in which the Vegans had surmounted all of their spiritual challenges and became an awakened species. So this is sort of like what's happening for us. It's about like this card refers to the immense steps needed to transform ignorance into enlightenment. This card and no longer being a slave to emotions or painful memories of the past. And fears about the future. And I know that a lot of this polarization on both sides, let's just say, is because we all want the same thing in reality. Everybody has like this sort of underlying, well, not everybody, but many people have this sort of underlying fear about the future. And so you take a side and you polarize to it and it becomes your identity. I polarize to this side and this is what we should do to get to our future that is safe and secure and allows us all to thrive. And then this side, I polarize to this side and this is my opinion. This is what I feel is right about how we get to, you know, Z, the letter Z, the end, where everything is good, right? And so that's the polarization. It really actually has to do with sort of like an underlying fear about the unknown, about what's going to happen. So this energy is sort of about, you know, allowing yourselves to let go a bit, allowing yourselves to release some of that fear, some of this extreme emotion, So it's not about not having emotions. And that's what this Cancer full moon is talking to us about, is about allowing ourselves to hold it, to feel it, to give it a voice, to nurture it, and then to see how we can sort of work with it. And the Galactics are giving us answers about how to work with it, you know, because these are races that have been through all of this. We're just sort of, you know, we've been down here in this sort of, you know, lower vibrational state, just to be honest, but nonetheless quite beautiful and amazing, right? But they've been through all of this, so they're helping us, and they're sort of like giving us some guidance, and hopefully you're getting that, and that's why you're here. And hopefully I am helping with that. So, okay, it's about rooting your consciousness in the now. So coming back to present, you know, coming back to this energy where we're seeking balance. We realize that we, you know, don't necessarily have all of the answers. We don't have to have all of the answers, that no expert is going to have all of the answers. No scientist is going to have all of the answers. It's about just like allowing the changes to come, knowing your truth though, and knowing that like you may have an idea about how, you know, we can best move forward, and you're going to take that and turn it into an inspired action, create a business, become a teacher, become a mentor, whatever your thing looks like. You know, a healing modality, you're a writer, you're inspiring people, you're helping people, your service work. I always go back to the service work, you know, for these types of readings, because it is about giving your emotions, giving your polarization a voice, and allowing yourself to like take inspired action through that and do something with it, rather than just allowing it to fester and become this overburdening, is that a word? Like emotional, where you just become a mess, you know? And then maybe like you're not having boundaries with other people, and maybe you're becoming too emotional for some of the people that are in your life, you know? So it goes both ways with that whole creating boundaries. It's also about, how do we overstep boundaries? It's about your own accountability. How are you overly emotional about things? And there's no judgment. Be gentle with yourself through all of this, because everybody's going through it. You know, these are very, very challenging times that are, you know, providing such a great catalyst for this incredible change. So it refers to a state of consciousness that is rooted in the now, where all your energy that was once spent in worry, fear, judgment, and self-sabotage is reclaimed. Call back your power. This is about reclaiming your power, your sovereignty. Like I was saying, like, you know, this astronaut here, you know, this astronaut doesn't really, this Pleiadian doesn't really look too affected by anything outside of itself. That anchor, the anchor inside of yourself, reclaiming your power, regardless of what is going on. And I know this is easier said than done. Some of you are dealing with some real life shit, okay? Okay, so it's allowing yourself, if this card shows up in your reading, then it usually means you are on the precipice of major change. The precipice of major change. Here we go. The precipice of major change. An opportunity to free yourself from old destructive patterns that have kept you stuck. In order to express this energy in the physical reality, however, you will need to take all the steps needed in your life to reclaim your freedom. You're an active participant in this. No one is going to come and save you, you know? You have to do it. Know that these steps may be painful, but the liberation that comes is like a rebirth. As each person takes these steps to transform his or her own life, the entire planet's consciousness can evolve as well. It's a domino effect. It's a ripple effect. It's that energy of be the change you wish to see. Have no fear. The energy of the ancient Vegan masters supports you on your journey. Beautiful. So, all right, you guys, I want to pull some tarot because then I don't have to read from a book. But thank you. If you've enjoyed this, thank you so much for like bearing with me as I'm sort of reading some of these energies, because, you know, I just feel that this is such a high level book, and I want to share it with other people because it is so important, but I don't necessarily just want to read it intuitively. I really want to honor this author because she's pretty amazing. I want to honor some of her writings. Beautiful, you guys. At the bottom of the deck was Fusion and Magic, Orion. So here's coming from the Orion belt. Number 55, present energy. And this, you know, the Orion constellation is where we can talk about some of the more nefarious, darker energies. Sorry, I'm just gonna fix myself. You know, all of the Orion wars, this was the battle of good and evil, light and shadow, all of it. And they've really had to overcome a lot. And I did a reading for Aquarius, actually. Aquarius's July reading, the energy of Archangel Orion came out for Aquarius with the Magician. So it's a nod to that. And all of this Aquarius energy of, you know, I think it's Saturn retrograde in Aquarius right now. Pisces was in Aquarius. It's going to move back there. It went back into Pisces. Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, all of that. So anyway, the energy of like Archangel Orion being one of the newest archangels, like the new kid on the block of archangels, that was sort of what came out of the galactic wars that happened in the constellation of Orion, some of the more nefarious energies, the darker energies that have even infiltrated this planet and is causing, you know, a lot of this polarity here, this false matrix, the inverted matrix that a lot of us talk about. So anyway, this is the Orions alchemizing their own situation, alchemizing all of that. And it's showing us what we can do as well. It's them in the present. And it's sort of where like they've worked with the two polarities. We see a nod to that energy of the polarity there. And where they're really working with it, they're creating magic and fusion. And it's also where, like, here's the puzzle piece, right? It's become a part of them. They've integrated it. Now they know how to use it. So it's also about you working with your own shadow side, working with your own light and your own shadow and making it work for you, knowing how to channel it, knowing how to work with it. So it is more than okay to have a shadow side, to have a dark side. Can we talk about that? You know, to the light workers, like I have a dark side, and it's something that shadow work that I've really been working on since I got to Sedona and since I came out west in a big way. So the energy of 5/5, of challenges, of change, of adversity, you know, and 2021 is a 5-year, 2 + 2 + 1 = 5. So it is a 5-year. There is an opportunity for magic and fusion. Like the energy of fusion is where something like comes together, like it becomes one, where two parts become one, two opposing sides become one, and it's like alchemy, it's magic. And that's also temperance. It's the alchemical marriage. So as within, as we do this within ourselves, so without. And that's like what they were talking about in this freedom of the future. So I love that the Orions are coming in. Some of you may want to look into Archangel Orion and just like, I don't know, you know, get some energy, you know, get some information about Archangel Orion, because I feel like you know, for an archangel to come in for me during this reading, there's no angels in this deck, but that was at the bottom. So that is this underlying energy, like, you know, is that we also have to see where, you know, where we're not necessarily responsible for all of this polarization, like completely. Like, I know it's so easy to be like, well, it's just a reflection of who we are, but also acknowledging that, you know, there are some much more nefarious energies, archonic energies that, you know, are inorganic darkness, that we are sort of like, you know, battling, that we have been battling, that humanity has been battling. Earth, you guys, Earth is a place that has been colonized by other, you know, races. people have fought over this real estate. We live on prime real estate, okay? It is, this is where life can thrive. So they have been fighting over the real estate of Earth for millions of years. So it's kind of bigger than us, even, the human race. So there's accountability, yes. From a soul level, we agreed to come here and do this work, but also acknowledging like that there's this missing link, there's missing pieces of the puzzle. We don't have all of the answers. The history books aren't telling us the real story. The story, not his story, not her story, the story, okay? So just kind of acknowledging that, where you can give yourself a little bit of a break. Okay, so I just want to pull like a couple of tarot cards, and when I open the deck, I see the Tower with the King of Wands, sudden revelations. You know, it is a shamanic journey. The King of Wands, he's my shaman. This is a shamanic journey for many of us. You know, whether you're, whatever you are, we are here to, you know, go into the depths, like that mermaid energy there, go into the depths, right? And then come out, you know, pure and new. So, all right. Thank you to the Galactics for this lovely reading. Can we have some closing messages for my dear viewers? Let's see what we have for this new moon in Cancer. Beautiful. Page of Wands. Yeah, that is that new energy. You know, it's inspired, it's passionate. What I love about this Page of Wands in this deck, this is the Moonchild Tarot. If you look very closely at her, she's burning sage. She's burning sage. So it's like changing the vibration, clearing the air, that releasing of karma, releasing of the old, clearing the air, clearing your space, clearing your space, clearing your space. You know, burn some sage, new moon ritual, Page of Wands, beautiful, a new start, you know, fresh energy. And the Chariot, ta-da! It's Cancer season. It wouldn't be Cancer season without the Chariot. This is a card of Cancer. So the sun and the moon at 18 degrees of Cancer, we're moving this thing forward, you guys. The Chariot is our vehicle for ascension. This is your soul on board. You're driving it forward. You know, you're driving your soul forward. How about this? Your physical vessel is driving your soul forward. Like, let's put our physical vessel at the forefront right now and give it some credit where credit is due. Give our DNA credit where credit is due. Give, you know, your immune system credit where credit is due. But I don't know why I'm just hearing that very strongly. This is the balancing of your light and shadow, of your yin and yang, your masculine and feminine. This is also where you're connected to a higher power. You're connected to the cosmos. There's will, determination. The emotions are balanced here. And this is where we're pushing it forward. It's just getting pushed forward. It's a card of victory. So I love that. It's a new energy. It's fire energy as we move into Leo season. The Chariot, number 7. So our spiritual tests and challenges. Yes, you guys, and the Fool. So here we go. New beginnings, rebirth. You know, I know it's not Aries season, but it feels like it is in a sense. So that may resonate for some of you. This is leaping into the unknown. It's that 0 point that I talk about a lot, about deprogramming yourself, unlearning things, you know, being open to learning things, to learning new things that may be like sound totally crazy. Like some of the things I've been talking about in this reading, like, what is this girl talking about? Is she insane? Yeah, a little bit, you know, but so it's about deprogramming yourself, emptying your vessel. Even for me, like, okay, I'm sitting here talking about all this, you know, knowledge and stuff, but how can I empty myself a bit more so that I can allow myself to level up and get some new downloads about things? So that is the message. Really amazing, you guys. I really, really liked this. And at the bottom of the deck is the 10 of Wands. Yeah, you know, it is going to be about like working through some of this heaviness and releasing it, finding a new way to do things. The 10 is the outcome, and the outcome is that some of this stuff is just too heavy. We don't have to carry all of it all the time. It's about learning a new way. This is about asking for help. You know, this is about seeing where we can do things in a totally different way. Thinking outside the box. There is no box, like that kind of thing. So really beautiful. I'm just trying to think if I think I'm going to get one more energy because I only pulled one card from the Crystal Alabe Oracle deck, and I want to get another card from this deck. So, all right, so let's get one more closing message. So this is going to be the last message for the collective for this new moon in Cancer. Okay, closing message for everybody. Aquarius, of course. So we get Pisces and Aquarius. I mean, that's what I was talking about. It's this completion of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. We're in like uncharted territory here, you guys. So, you know, just going back to the very first card from this deck that came out, you know, you don't have to have all of the answers. We didn't come here with an instruction manual, but we are remembering, and our highest self is here to guide us. And as our DNA gets more and more activated and turned on, and we start remembering more, we will have more answers, and it will feel easier even. You know, where we're not pushing so hard, we're not so freaking polarized all the time, where like it'll come more organically and more naturally. So this says access answers through the ancients in the Akashic records. So Kiara, who made this deck, she refers, excuse me, the card of Aquarius comes in as a reminder of the Akashic records. And that's interesting because now we can look at this little astronaut here as like having the Akashic records in her hands, where it's like, she's cool. Like she's kind of just traveling from planet to planet, lifetime to lifetime. You know, she can read the records when she wants. She knows how like things are sort of supposed to flow. So there's less resistance, there's less polarization. So again, it's not about like shaming ourselves for feeling a certain way, having specific emotions, needing to set these boundaries, not being in a state of like oneness all the time. It's not about shaming ourselves for that. It's about seeing where we can find more balance. So there's more of a surrendering to the mystery. There's more of having faith, right? So our faith in God, our faith in spirit, our faith in whatever, and also looking towards the future with hope and optimism. That's also Aquarius. It's that energy of the star. And I think, yeah, she did this as a number 17. So it's a nod to the star card. So we can call this the star card, where it's like, it's kind of just like, relax, it's all good. Like, don't feel like you can't allow yourselves to be vulnerable right now. In the star card, she's naked, and she takes both vessels. Remember, we were talking about temperance, where there's we're mixing and blending the elements, we're alchemizing polarities, we're blending our inner light and shadow. When you get to the star card, this woman, she's lost her wings, because in temperance she's got the wings. She's lost her wings in the star card. She's a naked woman. She takes both vessels, she pours them out. She's like, I'm done alchemizing. Been there, done that, I'm done. It's the energy of freedom, okay? So it is that energy of freedom. So it's like where you can just allow yourself to sort of surrender a bit and dream again and wish again. You know, it's that wishing upon a star. And so just kind of like let that be a guiding light for you, you know? So you guys, that was the message. I hope you enjoyed this. This is the longest reading that I've made in a while. So I really hope that it was helpful for you. I hope that you were able to resonate with parts of it, with, you know, all of it, let me know. I would really appreciate it. So take really, really good care. I will see you all soon. Namaste.